And OBS is disconnecting and reconnecting. Excellent. So my internet is still being decidedly dodgy. Oh well, we shall muddle through. Right, so we got not implemented exceptions, which is expected. Let's fix this one first. It's the only downside is jumping to the source of the error. There we go. So we want to register a projection. Now, if we look at our file system session, we had a parameter which was our projections somewhere. There we are. So it stands to reason that we can use the same data type for our storage. Let's just initialize that. Oh, add. What am I thinking about? Right, and then register a projection in it. Projections.add projection. Oh, that was easy. Just rerun the tests. Right, and we should have a different not implemented exception now. Yep, we now need to begin a session. So, let's try just returning a new one. Return new file system session. Now this has parameters. It needs a file system, a builders list, and a projections list. So I'm just going to pass nulls in for these because I'm not testing them yet. And I'll just pass the projections in. Four parameters, but 3 arguments. File system, builders, projections, and a root. Right, getting even further. So we definitely need the file system now. So we'll do this, FileSystem, and string root. Right, on those again. Yes. Now we need to update our tests to pass in our new arguments. Now the trouble with the way we've got the test set up is that I want to be able to do a setup and a teardown for this. So we can't just pass these in, because what I want to do is say underscore root equals GUID.new GUID string. So only the GUID I want to be unique on each one. And actually we're going to be using a mock the in-memory file system, so it doesn't actually matter. So I don't need a teardown actually. Excellent. So we'll do substitute for iFileSystem. No, let's not use a substitute actually. This comes with a new in memory file system, and our root, we'll use a GUID for it because why not? Well, we're using a GUID to prevent like the same path being hard coded somewhere. Alright, what's your problem? Cannot resolve base. Oh, that's because we moved the file to a different, the type to a different file, and Rider can't seem to follow its own refactorings very well. Now, run the tests. Sure they actually ran, so let's just click that again. Yeah, we need the file system so we can create the initial root directory. What is the easiest way to do that? Well, I think the easiest way to do this is to go to our storage tests, and use Sharper to encapsulate field, make it into an auto property called storage1. Let's make that storage. And now we're not going to set it like this, but like this. Fact. Rather than just marking it as protected set, we can just mark the whole thing as protected. And now we can take this lot, remove the base call, and just say storage equals that. Get that, make that a variable. And we'll do the same with the file system. And we'll just say fs.create directory root. .wait. So we can't be async in constructors. Alright, and now we just need to fix the in-memory storage tests. And again, we just remove the base call and set the storage. Don't need to do any additional setup for this one. Right, so now if we run those tests, really? Hooray, we have our first passing test. Registration of projections. So let's go on to when there isn't an aggregate registered. We go back down to here. This should throw a not supported exception. But didn't. We got a different kind of exception. What did we get? We got a not implemented exception, unsurprisingly. So this is when we called register builder. Let's go back to our file system storage Now, we need to register a builder, so let's go to our in-memory storage one. And we can use the same data type. At read-only. And now we just say builders add type of T aggregate builder. I think that's it. I'm reasonably certain this isn't actually running the tests when I tell it to. Should throw keynote, but instead got a null reference exception. It's because we don't think we've implemented. Ah, yeah. Should actually pass it in here, really. Right, we now have working file system storage. That was nice and easy. So let's see what we've done. We've refactored our tests. So we can commit the tests separately because they were a separate unit of change. So if we do git add source crispin.tests and then reset head source crispin tests infrastructure storage file system. Right. So tests refactor in memory storage tests be abstract base class. Right, and then we have git commit file system storage implement and test. Hooray! So that's our first thing. Now, I've got two refactorings that I'm thinking about doing. The first one is to make the storage API, specifically this iSession one, into something asynchronous. And the other thing that I've been thinking about doing is creating better exceptions. Because if we go and look at our in-memory storage tests, where are the tests for it? Actually, want the base class storage tests. There we go. We're checking for not supported and key not found exceptions. And I don't really want a key not found because that's kind of hinting at the fact that we're basing these off a dictionary. So I should be throwing a proper exception, like aggregate not found exception, for instance. So I could go and fix that one first. But it occurs to me the thing that I wanted to fix the other day was actually related to the tests themselves, and it's the fact that our two session tests are very, very similar. So I'm going to try and make a base class out of this, which may or may not go well. So the first thing I'm going to do is change that from an iFileSystem session just to an iSession. see if we get any compile errors on that. A warning down here. No, nothing to do with that. So let's rerun all of these. And I think we'll use the same style of setup as the storage tests, in that we'll have an encapsulated, do the encapsulate field, and set that field up to the right value. Ah, you aborted the tests. That's very not helpful of you. Right, so those will still pass. So let's just call this storage session tests, and we'll make it abstract again. And let's have public class file. Is this in memory? This is in memory. Oh, this is the file system one. File system session tests, which inherits storage session tests. Right. Let's make that protected, and let's mark it as the constructor. And now we want to take everything that's file system specific and move that to the other class. The builders can stay, projections can stay. The file system obviously has to come, as does the initialization of the session. So we'll just cut those. Create a constructor here, and paste them in. So let's take the file system, and what else? The root really needs to come as well, because that's not a generic thing. So now we just need the builders and projections in session. So let's encapsulate field on this. And make it protected. And settable. And now this can write to it directly. Now these run before our constructor. So if we go to the builders and the projections, we'll encapsulate both of those as well. And make them both protected and settable. No, not settable. They don't need to be set, just need to be read from. Right, so we've got our initialization done. Right, so let's see what errors we have to fix. When there are no events for an aggregate stored. So we can either do something like some overridable methods. Yeah, that seems like the easiest thing to do. And then it can be up to the storage medium how to pre-populate its background. Yeah. So let's see what other ones we need to do. That should be easy enough to do. Let's do this one first, because that should be fairly easy. I think what we'll do is we'll take that, or this part actually, make it into a method, and we'll call it aggregate exists, and we shall return a task of Boolean. And then we'll take that out of it, remove the body, and mark it abstract and protected. Implement the missing method. Fill in the blanks. Now I don't want to pass the aggregate ID like that. I want it to actually be passed through, because I might want to use it for other things. Especially as it just shows that the test is using the wrong aggregate ID. Yeah, that test is wrong. It should be using the toggle ID here. Like that. But the method is actually using the aggregate ID. The one that's global to the class. Whoops. Right, what's its problem? Missing an await, that would probably help. I'm tempted to get rid of that aggregate ID field, to be honest. It used quite a lot. Get rid of it later. Right, so now that that one's done, let's go back and look at this. I think here a method just called, I don't know, create aggregate with no events. Unless, now at the bottom, what did we have? Read events, read projection, and write events. Now, if we changed write events to take in the aggregate ID that it cared about, thanks Windows, but I'm plugged in, not running on battery. Like that. Now this is another one that can become something in the base class, something abstract. So let's copy that, delete the body, protected abstract. Apparently you can't specify that they're async. Implement and derive class, paste. Let's delete that, format document, mark it as async. Come back to those JSON settings, we're going to move all of those up in a minute. What's your problem? Yes, another one there that was potentially using the wrong field. Right, so what we can now do is use this write events here. And we'll just give it the aggregate ID. Because that will now create the file. And now we've got an empty file with no events. Great. So let's go back down to our next error. Don't highlight it, go there. Thank you. Now this is again something that's using the file system. It's already taking a toggle ID in, so we'll make it protected, mark it abstract, and take the body. And then if we go here and go implement in derived class, and paste that in there, mark this as now async, get rid of these superfluous brackets. And finally we've got reprojection, which is the same deal. So again, we shall make it protected, remove the async and replace with abstract, cut the body, and implement in derived class. And replace the body with that. Right, we're basically done. We just need the JSON settings because they're only specific to the file system. Let's put them here. And that is used all over the place. And then we've got our various methods of reading and writing data. Right. So, theoretically, we can run the tests and they'll all work still. Maybe. Excellent, they all still work. So let's move that into a separate file. And we'll just format these a little bit. Where is that other method? I think I just left in the middle of the class somewhere. There it is. Let's just take these and dump them just underneath the constructor. Right. That was the easy one. It's doing the file system. So now we then have to do the same changes, kind of, to the in-memory version. Right, so git commit tests, split file system tests, file system session tests into base class and implementation. Right, so now that we've done that, we can now go to our in-memory session tests, wherever they are. Do I not have them open already? No, clearly not. Now, most of these methods exist, but I think there was a couple I didn't implement. So we're going to rely on the compiler telling me off to find these. Now, as we're about to do effectively, or at least partial, of the same refactoring, we shall do the encapsulation of these fields. Like so. and then we should delete them. So while that might have seemed like a pointless exercise, we've named the variables now the same as the base class we're about to take on. What was it? Session tests? Storage session tests. There we go. There we go. That's not so bad. So the builders doesn't need to be initialized, the projections don't need to be initialized, the session does. We need the event store and potentially the aggregate ID, but potentially not. Now, let's implement these. Let's even put them in the right place. So the first one is to find that test that actually calls this aggregate exists. Easiest way to do that, because we did copy and paste the tests in the first place, is to search not this file. What the hell? In-memory session tests. Storage tests. Oh, storage session tests. All these names are too similar. Right. That's the name of the test. So if we go back to our file system session, there we go, that one. Right, so that's the implementation we need. So we'll just cut that, come back up here, and paste it in there. Return, and because we're not doing anything async, we'll just use task.from result. Contains key. What is your problem? Ah, async. Okay. When there are no events, so that's how we're writing events here. Just cut that out. So rather than aggregate ID, it is the toggle ID we should be using. And we shall just take the events parameter and to list it. Okay, maybe not, we'll do a cast first. And again, we're not doing anything async, so let's get rid of that and just do return task.completed. Right, next, read events and read projection. Look down through these, we can actually delete these. These ones don't have anything special in them. So let's find one where read events is called. And I've gone open the wrong file again. I'll get there eventually. Right, when saving an aggregate and commit is called. Given a toggle ID, return the types of events. Okay, let's have a look at our file system. It's not finding anything useful. Because it's the in-memory one that I'm re-implementing. Right, so it's this one, and that's how we're reading the types. Take that, go up to the top. And we're using the toggle ID, select the types. Yep, return task.from results. Of the ID. remove the async as well. Right, finally we just need to find a projections. Read projection. That's when there is a projection. Now I'm not sure this one has an implementation in here. One day I will tab back to the right file. It does. We're just grabbing the projection straight out of the list and assuming there's only one. Right. Should be easy enough then. Projections. It's a list, so we can just do of type t projection dot single or default, and as usual task dot from result, and get rid of the word async. Right, so now we can use the compiler again and find any method that has got a warning about overriding a member that already exists, and just delete those, because these tests already exist. And there are some in this class that don't already exist. There's one that doesn't exist in the base class. And another one, and another one. Right, let's see how badly we've broken these. And it builds, that's a start. Huh, and they all pass. That's nice and somewhat surprising. Right, so that's the initial change. And we didn't have to change the base class. So tests, refactor in memory session tests do use session storage session tests base. Right, now we can go through and do the rest of these things. This shouldn't be used. Knows that, knows that, knows that. Right, we have one of these on the base class. So let's encapsulate that. Up. Now the only difference is we can now just say editor. I might move these tests to the base class as well. Maybe. Let's just keep refactoring other bits. Next thing was that my lack of consistency on naming parameters was annoying me. Toggle ID. Yes, rename everything. Now, we've got the editor set up, but this aggregate ID, are we actually using that anywhere, or can I get away with removing it? And if we are using it, oh, and right, it's crashed. Or not. No, the editor's crashed. That's useful. Right, let's save everything. If I exit presentation mode, this will now crash. Or I can't exit presentation mode because it's down at the bottom of this menu. There we go. Well, that's half exiting presentation mode. And I appear to be able to type again here. Or not. Yeah, let's just close Rider. Just gotta wait for the Rider background process to disappear and then I can launch it again. Right, let's try again. The fun of using early access software. Also learn not to try and do anything until it's actually finished loading the solutions, because for some reason when it loads net standard projects it tells me that the load fails and all the projects show up grayed out, and then a second or two later it then magically loads them and you get a bunch of errors about this. Make sure these things are installed. It's because I don't have Visual Studio installed and it's looking for paths that don't exist. So rest tests, load failed, and now they're there. Spin the progress bar a bit more. Still quicker than reloading Node.js packages or opening Visual Studio. Apparently no one can escape object reference not set to an instance of an object. Oh well, I'll submit those later. Right, back into presentation mode. Someone at work today asked me what was going on with my screen because my text was huge, and it's because I was using presentation mode in Rider while sat at my desk, because I was slouched in my seat very far away from my screen, being lazy. Right, let's delete this aggregate ID field. So we've got some that should throw exceptions. Yeah, we really don't need the aggregate ID for that. Just create a new toggle each time. Toggle. Very new. Let's just dump that into each one of these, except here, which will do our toggle ID. What's that? And we've got the same again here. That, do that, do that, that. And no more compile errors. Right, next, what do we use this membership thing for? Nothing if I override. Would you stop that? Membership. Right, we have 3 tests that are using it, and we're not even asserting on its value or doing any setup. Yeah, let's get rid of that as a field as well. It's not used enough to warrant being a field. That can be protected while we're at it. Let's get rid of membership. Substitute for my group membership. Right, let's build everything. after that's finished building, we're going to run the tests for just a few things. Shut that session. And let's just run the tests for the storage systems. That's not all of them. It's not run the file system session tests. What? File system storage tests? Session. Oh, would you look, the highlighter doesn't think that's a real file. That's why I can't run the tests in it. That's useful. Maybe it's in the test explorer. Namespace these. It's not very useful view. Try that one. There we go, they pass anyway. Right, let's have a look at the commit log. Yep, good. So commit tests, refactor, storage session tests to remove us variables. Good, quite pleased with that. Now, to use proper exceptions from the domain, or to async the storage system. Now, I do want to do the storage system, but I would quite like it to realize that that's a real file, like a test file. Do I need to do anything in here? No, actually, these aren't catching any exceptions or anything. Well, no, it might be alright. Let's give it a bash. So, storage session. So I think we'll do these one at a time, rather than all at once, because that would be more painful. Now, which method shall we do first? Open's probably the easiest one. Let's do it with Sharper though, rather than just me renaming things and then relying on the slowness of the compiler on here. So if we do Control-RS, there we are, which is a refactor signature. That's a decidedly unhelpful list. Right, should have a few exceptions now. Yep, so we're not doing anything here, so we'll just use the lambda and just do task.completed. I'm pretty sure we're doing the same in the in-memory session. Yep, nothing. That was easy enough. Now, we should need to change our actual stores. Huh, this one isn't even calling it. I suppose there's no point in calling it if it's not doing anything. And the in-memory one is calling it, but isn't awaiting it. So once this build finishes, assuming we haven't got any compile errors, we shall add an await here and then change the storage session, making begin session asyncy, and that will cause compile errors. Yep, good. So, await. Make it an async task. Well, thanks for that. Async task. My storage session. And what is its problem here? Right, so begin session now needs to be async. And we might as well call the open method. You never know. So we'll do this. RV, session. Session dot open, which admittedly is not doing anything, but it might do something in the future. Right. Now we've got errors in the projections apparently. Oh, if we do, they're not real errors. We have errors in everything else now. Storage tests. Yep, these now need asyncing. So this is now await. I never know whether I should make this asynchronous or the method asynchronous. Put the await outside the block. Let's do this. Ah, that's not it's not even the problem yet. I mean, it will be a problem in a minute, but those are new lines so I don't get confused, because I am very easily confused. Wait. Yes, array offset with, that's exactly what I wanted it to say. And my typing is getting worse, which probably means I'm getting tired. Been pretty tired all week, so. Right. No more errors in those. Let's go back down. Do we have any other test errors? No, apparently not. Surprising. I thought there was going to be more errors from that. Especially changing that begin session to be async. I think all of the handlers should break. But apparently we don't have any real errors according to Rider, so let's recompile it and see how many we actually have. Unsurprisingly, quite a few. And these are already asyncy, well, nearly async methods. Why are you not moving? Control up and down is no longer working, right. Oh wait, let's copy that, because I have a feeling we're going to be typing it quite a lot. Let's make that async. Now, has Refactor got a fix for that? Kind of. That's not the fix I wanted. I wanted a fix that would just automatically remove that bit. Hey ho, can't have everything. Right, next one. Let's put the await in the right place, that will probably help. and delete our task from results. Right. That's that's pardon me. Do that. Remove that. Can't be many of these left. Oh. Those are errors apparently. Yeah, whatever. Right, rebuild. Now there should be more errors again because we've now fixed our handlers, so I believe the REST API might throw some errors. Actually, it shouldn't do. All of those handlers were hidden behind the mediator pipeline. Handler test. Alright. This is the file that it doesn't believe is, or one of the files it doesn't believe is a real C# file. So you don't get any IntelliType to help you. Though quite why it doesn't believe it's a file is beyond me. Oh. Oh, I suppose we can't await it because it's actually in the constructor. That makes you a bad person doing that. Is there any way to get around that? Not really. I wonder if they're going to allow async in constructors. Let's have a look. C# async constructor. Is it C#8? Is that the next version that's coming? Oh, there's a discussion. That's what I was after. Yeah. It's not surprising. Still in discussion. Oh well, everything compiles, but as we've changed the something fairly low level in the project, we're going to rerun all the tests. They'll probably pass. While those running, let's just do this. Check that I haven't introduced any bad white space. Right. Yeah. storage. Make storage dot open. Storage open? No, begin session. And session dot open async. Right, next. Let's go back to the iStorage session. Now, commit's going to be an interesting one because we've got to dispose. Dispose also calls commit, but I'm not quite sure how you're meant to do that. Disposable call async. Let's go for this one. It's the newest. Yeah, no, that doesn't really provide me the answer I was after. Or rather, a explanation. There's an iasync disposal. Interesting. Planning, language, okay. That's maybe not something that exists. Let's see. Iasync. Nope. No, definitely no. Async disposable. Which would indicate that you shouldn't be doing it, but... Using statement in an async method. Odd. Different thread. Yeah, well, I think commit should be async. And again, let's use resharper's change signature. And let's find implementations. Isn't what I was after. I want control F12 on that one. We'll just put a wait in. It's not a great idea, but it's about the only way we can do this. Now that we've got something that's async, can actually use write async. That, get rid of that. Get rid of this wait call. Await that. Got any other waits? Sure there's a file exists check somewhere. Well, right. Let's make that async. And delete that. And rather than using that lovely each, we'll do for each in events. At event. Right line async. And we can get rid of that. Await that. and await that. I'm sure there was something that was checking if a file existed. Maybe not. Ah, okay, different method. Okay, so now we can go back to this and do Control F12 again and go to the in-memory version. And our commit method actually has nothing to do asynchronous here. So we're just going to return a completed task. Now if we go back to this again, this time we will do Shift F12 on commit. This is now everything that was called commit. And we'll just go through and make sure they're being awaited. And for this, what we can do is take a copy of that. Oh, damn it. Thank you. And take an await in front of it. Selection, no. Right. Make the method async. Right, and go back to that and do Control F12 again. Oh, no, Shift F12. Now we've done those, done these. So that's the tests dealt with. Right, we've got one handler that's calling commit. I swear this thing is going to be the death of me. I don't even know what's happened anymore. Right, we've got a wait in that, and we don't have in this one. Right, let's build all of those. What time is it? It's 10 o'clock. Right, and let's rerun all the tests, because again, we've done something fairly large to this. Then we get to go into the fun ones. Those are running, let's just add the rest. Check what we've done. So git commit, and all of them have passed. As I can, you might not be able to see on the stream, but this console window is slightly transparent, so I can actually see the result in the background here. So git commit storage session. What did I call the last one? Git pending storage make session dot commit async. Right, let's go on to fun things. Let's do loading a projection. And our return type is now task. that. Which apparently did nothing. Okay, we'll do it manually. Just take that, and now if we go to our implementations of this, which is Control F12, get rid of that, go away. Yep, so we can get rid of result call here. Place that with an await. Can we read to end async? Yes. Wait in there as well. That's all of them in there, yep. And go to the in-memory version. Doesn't have anything particularly asynchronous to do. Let's just do task dot from result. Now we should have quite a few errors because things that call this load projection now need to be changed as well. Whereas things like our commit one were fairly localized changes, these could be used throughout the code base, as we can see. Let's take that RV projection. We're going to have to make these async. This will be interesting. This will do them all at once, really. Which means we might as well make load aggregate async as well. Where is our load aggregate? Task T aggregate. Now we don't need all of this junk anymore. Just get rid of all of that. Much better. Don't think we've got any weights in here, have we? Nope, that's all good. Let's go back to our session. And in memory. Task. That. And do we have anything asynchronous in here? Nope. Task.result. Now, if we go back to our toggle locators, these also need to be tasks. And let's go to the other toggle locator. This also needs to be a task. that. Alright, let's fix this one. Project. I can't spell projection apparently. Or type, one of the two. Projection. Close enough. Await. And here we can await that. And then we can do an await there as well. Right. Build. 1 million errors. Oh, close. Don't know how many errors that is, but feels like 1 million. Await. Next. Now we've got a toggle from somewhere, but we haven't awaited it. That's yeah, that's annoying. Oh, projection. I will leave it called load projection. That kind of makes sense in this context. Now wait that. Wait that. In fact, we can probably do this. Find all of those, replace it with wait session dot load. Two of them. And one more up here. That's just missing task. More errors. Build it again, get more errors. And as before, we've changed something fairly fundamental, so rerun all the tests. And while those are running, we can just diff what we've done. Async everything. Oh, bad white space. In toggle locator by name. Right. Storage. Make session dot load aggregate and session dot load projection. Async. Right, the question is, have we left anything out? Yes, saving. This should be the last thing to do. So let's change the signature. Make it, if you tab into that field here, you can't tab back out of it again, which is annoying. Okay, so again, we've decided not to be able to run the refactoring automatically. So we shall muddle through and do this manually. Would you go to the... Thank you. Right. Task. And this is the in-memory one, so we're just going to return task.completed and go to the file system version. Oh, that was the FileSystem version. Yeah, well, I suppose save doesn't have very much to do. Just literally just dumping the events into an in-memory store. This doesn't technically need to be asynchronous, but I don't know that future implementations that won't need asynchronicity, so she'll do so. See how bad that breaks things. See, it's not being used because I'm not awaiting that expression. So let's do Shift F12. Or not. I have no idea what that error message means. Let's let the build finish, maybe that'll resolve it. Well, I don't have very many methods called save, so we'll just search for it manually. 17 matches. Yeah, okay. Yep. Oh, wait. Is there a go to next that I can... No. No keyboard shortcut for it. Wait. And this is in a constructor, so we can't do anything about it. Wait. 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 Oops. Right, that's all those done. Storage tests. And finally, update toggle and update toggle tags. Right. Yeah, that one's got a way to the end of it. That's, yep. Right, let's build all that. And run all the tests again. Yep, good, that all does. Now I just need to wait for the test to finish. Oh, do we get a failure there? No. Right, git commit storage make session.save async. It's now all asynchronous. So let's push those out to GitHub, and I'm now going to stop and go and sleep. Yeah, so I think next time we will what's the word? Yes, we will put domain exceptions into our domain. So rather than having key not found exceptions and what's the other one? Not supported exceptions, we'll have builder not registered and unable to find aggregate exceptions, which will be nice. Yeah, so thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, feel free to send me a message. I'm at Ponderdom on Twitter, and the source code's on GitHub. So github.com/ponderdom/Crispin. Thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your evening.